Hi, I'm Rob Zabilski, President of WACO Team USA Kickboxing, and I want to thank everyone for participating in our Cornerman certification course. It's very important that anyone that works a corner in a WACO event participate in this course so they understand the rules, the regulations, and proper etiquette when working a corner.
Hey guys, I'm Mark Grubel. I'm the head coach for WACO Team USA. I'm here with Phil Maldonado, the president of Joe Louis Fighting Systems, and Jonathan Balgami, the assistant coach for WACO Team USA Kickboxing. The reason why I'm here today is we're going to teach you what you need to know to be a certified level 1 coach in Cornerman. And these are the topics we're going to cover. Alright guys, as a certified WACO Cornerman, these are some of the supplies you're going to need. 2 towels. Make sure your fighter has 2 mouthpieces just in case one gets knocked out or lost. You'll need rubber gloves, Vaseline, Q-tips, water bottle, an ice bag, an end swell, and if it's a pro fight, you'll need gauze and something to stop the bleeding with. Coaches, make sure you tell your fighters that some of the equipment will be provided by WACO. Your gloves, your shin gear, and your headgear will be provided. However, you'll need to bring a passport to use as collateral when you get your gear at the glove table. Now, after your bout, you'll have to return the gear in order to get your passport back. This ensures WACO keeps their equipment and then you get your passport back. Okay, some of the things that you'll have to provide. Your cup, your mouthpiece, and chest protector for females. Females also have to wear groin protection as well. It is mandatory. Now, if you want to wear an ankle brace, it cannot be padded, and it has to be the nylon slip-on kind. As well as that, you have to remember that your shorts can be Muay Thai style shorts, but they cannot say Muay Thai on the front. We have to differentiate the sport K1 from Muay Thai. 2 totally different sports, 2 totally different games. Now, underneath your shorts, you cannot wear compression shorts. The skin has to be exposed underneath your shorts so the judges can see damage inflicted upon the fighter. This section is about coaching professionalism. The first person in the ring is always the referee. Now, you can walk your fighter to the ring and hold the ropes open, but once your fighter is in the ring, he must not put on his gloves until the referee checks all of his equipment. Now, when the bout is in play, there's no coaching out loud, no yelling, no profanity, no standing, and no slapping of the ring while the bout's in motion. You have 1 minute in between each round, and 1 cornerman can be inside the center of the ring and 1 on the outside edge. Remember to wear your uniform as well. It will be your team tracksuit that you're given to you before you go to the tournament. You have to wear your team tracksuit and your sneakers. You cannot wear boots or flip-flops or anything like that. Now remember, if there's a protest, save it for after the bout. Alright guys, in this next section we're going to talk about the coach's responsibilities for pre-fight preparation. Your fighter's mental and physical conditioning, as well as strategy and game plans before the fight, are all your responsibility. One of the biggest things that you don't want to overlook though is in the tournaments overseas, the weight control factor is a lot different. Your fighter must weigh in every day of the tournament when they fight. You can't do a massive weight cut for 1 day before the tournament and continue on throughout the tournament. It doesn't work like that over there. And remember, you're at a foreign tournament where there's not a lot of people that speak your language. So when the draw happens and they announce when your fighter is fighting, make sure you're there and you're up close. Get there early, because when they put up the fighter's draw for that weight class and that fighter, it will literally only be up for a few seconds. So have your cell phone ready, snap a picture of the draw, send it to your fighter so he knows exactly what time he has to fight and who he's fighting. Alright guys, there's many different coaches out there and different cornering styles. Phil and I are going to talk about some different coaching methodologies that we have found to be successful. Phil?
Well, obviously as a good coach, one of the main things you have to work on is having a good relationship and an understanding of your fighter. So in preparation, The fight is won in the gym, not in the fight itself. So when you get a good, sound strategy and a game plan against the fighter that you're going against, whether he becomes a pressure fighter, speed fighter, counter fighter, whatever the case may be, good kicker, working a game plan around that, and also being able to make adjustments in the ring. You got to teach your fighter how to read and make an adjustment sometimes on the fly. In between, since we're not going to be able to coach as the match is in process, we can coach in between rounds. That's when I got to read both fighters, pick out my fighter's weaknesses and his strengths and what's working for him. Also, kind of pick the fighter's opponent's weaknesses and strengths and kind of build a game plan around that, because they may change from round to round.
Right. Another method that we like to use is figuring out what techniques our fighter can use that capitalize on the other fighter's weakness. So I call this method the technician. If we notice that there's a certain technique that would fill a gap and cause a knockout or cause our fighter to be able to take control and take the lead of a fight, we may use that. Sometimes it may not be technique or strategy at all. It may just be that our fighter is feeling exhausted, maybe unconfident, and we need to motivate them. So I'll do whatever I can to hit my fighter's hot buttons and get them motivated so they give it their all and they reestablish that predatory instinct that they should have used in the first place. All right, guys, one of the most often overlooked parts of a tournament is having a corner plan. If you go to the ring and your fighter's about to fight or is in the middle of this fight and there's no corner plan, it's very difficult to work as a cohesive unit. You may be disorganized, you may be in disarray, the fighter may not know what's going on, he's already stressed out enough. So the smoother the corner operates, the more relaxed your fighter's going to be. So if you already have a preset game plan on whose duties are what, it makes things a lot easier. For instance, the head cornerman steps through the ropes. He has the water bottle and the ice bucket. As soon as he steps through, he may take the mouthpiece out of the fighter's mouth, allow the fighter to breathe, give him instructions, etc. The second man on the outside of the ropes, he may do things like applying the ice bag, administering to swelling with the end swell, or trying to stop any bleeding. You may even have a third team member who's warming up the next fighter for the tournament. Phil, is there anything you'd like to add to expand on that?
No, I did like the fact that you said there's definitely has to be a cohesiveness, because the fighter will feed off your energy. If you feel like you look like you're in a panic and he's going to kind of pick up on that, he's going to feel the same way. You want your fighter to feel confident that you've got everything handled and it'll just kind of flow over to him.
I think that's a great point. The more stressed out you look as a cornerman, the more stressed out you're going to make your fighter. If you're cool, calm, and collected, and it looks like you got everything under control, chances are your fighter is going to pick up on that and translate that into the next round. John, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
So it's really important that when in the cornerman that you work together as a team and give people positions, what they need to do, what needs to happen, and understand the timing and being on time, understanding when your fighter's gonna fight, what they're eating, what they're drinking, consistently drinking, if they're hydrated for the fight. Make sure you have all your equipment ready, and prepare that. Preparation is number one key for success. So if you want to do good in the fight, you need a game plan, communicate with your coaches and your members of your team.
Good points.
Very good points. Makes things run a lot smoother, makes things happen a lot more efficiently, and it keeps the stress level way down. All right, guys, the warm-up before the fight is very important. Everyone has their own method, every fighter is different, every coach is different. We're going to kind of go over some of the things that we like to do to warm our fighters up. Me personally, I like to warm my fighter up 2 fights out, doing 3 2-minute rounds with 1 minute rest. That gets them, it gets their heart rate up, it gets them beating with sweat to where their core temperatures are at the right temperature to perform at its max. That gives them one fight, is just a few minutes to get cooled back down and bring their heart rate back down. They're loose, they're ready to go, and they shouldn't hit that first cardio wall that they normally feel about halfway through the second round. John?
It depends. It really depends on when they're fighting and the time they're fighting, because I want to get them ready. So it's usually 45 minutes to 30 minutes before they fight, just a light warm-up to start sweating, and then you wrap them up and start working on basic combinations and do the game plan to the fight. But definitely a good warm-up towards the fight. At 30 minutes, you start picking up a little bit. You start to, for me, it's like a minute shadow boxing, and then work pads. Then I'll let them rest for another minute and then come back again. And then make them really feel, the key is them feeling comfortable and ready. And you have to ask them how you feel, you're ready. And it's really important to always ask your fighter how you feeling, and so you can always communicate, and remind them what they're gonna do in the fight. It's when you're when they're in the ring, it's really important that you emphasize on what you worked on and what the game plan is. So execution, but definitely warm up is important.
I like what both of the coaches said. Each fighter is different. Your approach is different. I may warm up two different fighters completely different. Predominantly, what I like to do, though, is I like to get in, and he's already in condition. We've already done the physical training to get to the fight. When it comes to fight day, and we're in the back room where we're warming up, I'd like to give him a couple minutes to do a little bit of his own shadow boxing, get in his own thoughts a little bit. Once he's warmed up, then we kind of change it up a little bit. So when I'm doing mitt work, I'm trying to emulate his opponent. I don't just stand in one position. Even though we have preset combinations that we may be working, I mix the speed, the power, the tempo. I pop him back a little bit with the mitts, so he's used to kind of getting the contact, so it's not one of those flash or surprise things when he's in the middle of a fight when he gets popped. I already want his mindset that he's going to be receiving as well as giving. So I try to emulate an opponent. Move, mix the speed, mix the power, inside, outside, bumping, a little bit, whatever the rules designate that we can use, for the fight that day. And I build the game plan around that. But mostly, like I said, trying to get in and let him dictate the rhythm. Which is what he wants to do. Take control of the rhythm, take control of the distance and angles and positioning in the fight. So that's what we try to set, in the preset while we're back there warming up.
Awesome. Now remember, every fighter is different. These are just some suggestions that we're throwing out there. Find one that works for you, find one that works for your fighter, and then have at it. Good luck in your fight.
Hello, my name is Rocky Troutman. I'm the Assistant Director of Officials for WACO Team USA Kickboxing. I'm here to discuss the three forms of fighting in WACO. First, you have above the waist full contact. Second, you have low kick. And third, you have K1. We're going to be discussing primarily low kick and K1 today. In low kick and K1, they have similar rules. The rules for punching and kicking to the body, to the ribs, to the face, to the side of the head, and the top of the head. Low kick allows you to be able to kick to the upper leg, only to the inside and the outside of the leg, above the knee. You cannot use spinning back fists in low kick. K1, on the other hand, you can use spinning back fists. You can also low kick below the knee, so you can use the whole leg as a target area. You can also use knees in low kick. When you throw a knee, if you are going to throw it from outside, you're going to be able to use the knee multiple times. If you come into a clinch, then you can only use one knee per clinch. You let go, and then you can come back in and use the knee again. To recap the differences between low kick and K1, in low kick you cannot spinning back fist, in K1 you can. In low kick you can only kick to the upper thigh. In K1 you can kick to the whole leg. And in low kick you cannot knee, and in K1 you can. We're going to go through the general rules now. First, unprepared fighters that come in without equipment have 2 minutes to be able to prepare themselves or to be penalized for that. There is a 3 knockdown rule in these fights for the total fight. So if a person gets knocked down in the first round and 2 in the second round, the fight's over with. Also, sweeps are only allowed if you come to sweep across at the ankle or lower, nothing up higher. No elbow strikes are going to be allowed in either low kick or K1. No hooking the feet. When a person kicks and if I hook it, I cannot punch them, I cannot sweep them or anything. You cannot hook at all. You can parry the foot out of the way to strike or to keep going, but you cannot hook and catch it. Each round is going to be 2 minutes with 1 minute in between. Now that 1 minute, at the end, you're going to hear that they're going to say 10 seconds. And I'm going to say seconds out, corners out. And you're going to have to be able to go out immediately. The next thing that we're going to cover is the referee's actions in the ring. When a fighter enters the ring, the referee will signal the fighter to come into the ring. He will not have his gloves on, so that when he comes in for his equipment check, he'll be actioned to come in, then he'll be checked with his wraps, then he'll be checked for his headgear, his mouthpiece, groin protector, shin instep guards, and then he will put his gloves on. They do not put their gloves on until they're checked in the ring. After the equipment check, I will bring the fighters to the center to make sure that they are ready to fight and to give them their final instructions. They will touch gloves. I will have them back up. I will ask the timekeeper to be ready for time. I'll ask the judges if they're ready, and then I'll continue and start the fight. While the fight is continuing, there's 3 commands that the referee will use: stop, break, and fight. Stop is when the fighters are not able to break themselves up because they're up against the ropes. We will say stop, and we expect you to do that. We'll bring you to the center, and I'll say fight. We will start you out and say fight. Break means that you're in the center of the ring and you're holding or you're not fighting, and that's when we will break you. When you break apart, you step back 1 big step and then you continue to fight. So break, we will not be saying fight every time that you break. When you're holding, that goes into possible warnings. The fight is only done at the beginning and during stop. The next part is scoring points. Now when you're expecting to score points, there's different characteristics that the judges are looking for and that you have to know to be able to score an efficient point. Pity-pat points are not going to be scored. Good form, full power with speed, timing, distance, and balance all go in to making a good point that the judges are going to score. If you're off balance, you're falling away, if you're throwing your kick and you're falling backwards, them are things that are not going to score. If you're hitting them into the arms, that is not going to score. Anything that is deflected off the shoulders, off the arms, off the hip, is not going to be scored. Warnings. If you're holding, for example, any of the warnings or fouls that you do would be the same thing. A warning would be first verbally warned. I will tell you, stop holding. Next time, you're going to be getting an official warning. When you get an official warning, that means that we stop the time. I bring you to the center. I bring the other fighter over to the neutral corner. And I say 1 official warning for holding. Then we separate. I bring them back in. Time in. Fight. If this happens again, then I would do the same thing I would stop the fight, stop the time, grab this fighter, put his opponent into the neutral corner, and the second time I would do an official warning with a minus point. My hand would be like this. That means you got deducted a point because you're not listening about not holding or whatever the foul is. The next time that it happens, and I give you another official warning with a minus point, you're disqualified. So you have a verbal warning, you have an official warning, then you get a minus point. If you do not heed to these warnings, then you could be disqualified. The last thing that we're going to cover is the knockdown. If a fighter gets knocked down, not just slips. If he slips, he's going to be pulled back up, I'll wipe his gloves off, and then he'll continue fighting. And I'll say fight, and they'll continue fighting. If he gets knocked down by a strike, then I will call one, then I'll tell the opponent that knocked him down to get to the neutral corner. I will not continue to count until he gets to the corner, so don't waste time getting over there. Then once you're there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I'll say, are you ready to fight? If you're not looking at me, you're not ready to fight. You have to look at the official. I'll say, step forward. Once you step forward and I can see that you're stepping with confidence and that you're ready to fight, put your hands up. I'll tap them on the top to make sure you're not like weak. And then we'll continue the fight. I'll separate you, I'll bring the person over, and then fight. If you get knocked down again in that same round, then we will go through the same procedure again. 1, fighter to the neutral corner. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you're not able to fight and I see that you're not looking at me and ready to fight, 9, 10, fight's over. If you are able to fight and you come back up, do the same procedure, step forward, I hit your gloves, I bring you both back in, I start the time, fight. If you get knocked down in any 3 rounds, 3 times, it could be 1 in the first, 1 in the second, or 2 in the second, you're done. The fight is over. 3 in the fight ends the match. In closing, I would like to mention that the referee is always in charge and that the referee's job and responsibility is the safety of the fighters. I'd also like to go into a few points about the corners. First, corners keep the corner clean. No profanity in the corners. Stay seated in the corners so people can see, and it's just a rule for the corners to be seated, not standing up. No slapping the ring in between or at any time. Excessive water in the corner will slow the matches down. So make sure that if you use excessive water that you wipe it up so that I won't have to tell you to do so. Also, the only time that a protest would be acknowledged is if there was a miscalculation in the scoring. All decisions from the judges are final. If you have questions, please contact the chief official. Thank you for watching our video. We did this video so that you would be more prepared and give your fighters a better chance of winning and competing at our WACO events. My name is Rocky Troutman. I look forward to seeing you at the fights. If you feel like you want to contact me about questions or information, feel free to do that. My email is rockysdojoandgym@att.net. That's ROCKYSDOJOANDGYM@att.net. See you at the fights.